so today we're here today to help you to find techniques, like have techniques about how to find your life purpose. So for yourself, and okay, it's also a good opportunity for you to have techniques. Huh? Okay, so here is a quiz. You have 10 questions. Yeah, Fong, if you can help me, accept people like to come here. So you have 10 questions. You have to answer for yourself, like on those questions, how many yeses do you have? So do you feel trapped? Do you feel like you are trapped in your life right now? Like it's on the personal life, on the professional life, and that it's life is repeating, like it's repeating itself, and that you feel trapped. So is it a yes or a no? You count the number of yeses that you have. Huh? Lacking energy. So do you feel that you are lacking energy and that you feel a bit low on energy compared to be like super high energy? Like how do you feel? So if you are lacking energy, yes. So for those who just joined, so choose how many, count how many yeses you have. Huh? Are you waiting for the weekends? So basically you're working during the week and you're counting the days of the week and say, okay, 2 more days before the weekend. So are you waiting for the weekend? So is it a yes or a no? Are you feeling demotivated? So is it a yes or a no? Are you feeling anxious? Do you have anxiety? Again, yes or no? Do you feel lost about your next career move? Do you feel lost, like what should I do next? And you don't have that clear vision of what you want to do? Do you lack a sense of purpose so that you don't feel like you have a purpose? There's no real meaning in your life, and you're missing that sense of purpose. Huh? And do you feel that you are leveraging your skills fully? So do you feel like in your job you are underutilized, like that your skills are not fully utilized and that you could do more and they have much more to offer right now? Do you feel that you're not growing? To this feeling of being stuck, like in terms of like intellectual stimulation, of like learning, being on this ever-growing learning journey. So do you feel that you are not growing? Nope. You don't feel challenged. So do you feel challenged? So if you don't feel challenged, like put yes. Huh? So again, so count the number of yeses that you have here. And so I wouldn't mind, like on the chat, can you tell me how many yes you have out of those 10? So if you can tell me so we can see your results. So how many yeses do you have? So when I look at the chat, 8, 7, yes. Okay, Yael, you're doing great, like only 2 or 3, perfect. Yes, 5, 8, 7, yes. So I would say if you are above 5, it's good for you to watch this session today, to be with us today. If you're the part of the lucky one that are feeling always motivated and high energy and know their purpose, it's also a good opportunity for you to learn techniques and teach others. Huh? So let's go through that. Before I forget, so yes, maybe what we can do also. So I'll just, before I forget, so that's going to be what we're going to go through today. So we just looked at symptoms. What are the key symptoms of people lacking a sense of purpose? Then we're going to go through the flow theory. So those of you who've done the class, some alumni that I see, like GoMasterCoach alumni, you have seen that already. So we're going to go through that again. Ikigai. So then you will go through 3 techniques. So Ikigai, energy mind map, and find your why, which is based on Simon Sinek's book and the theory behind this book. So really like symptoms, and then the objective is flow theory, so that the two opposite, and then the three techniques. So let me, I just wanted to ask you the poll. Tac. I'm not very good at that. I do launch a poll. Yeah, Fong, if you can help me do the poll, launch it. I can see the, yeah. Yes, I can see it. Polling, okay. Launch poll. Yeah, so before I forget, can you tell me how did you hear about GoMasterCoach? That's good for us to know what works, and having to validate how the outreach is done. And so thank you for helping on that. That's super useful information for us. How did you hear about GoMasterCoach the first time you heard about GoMasterCoach? So thank you. Thank you very much for that. I see people are, yes. So for those of you, because today is going to be a 1 hour session, thank you for answering the poll, Amandine. Okay. For those of you, so today it's only a 1 hour session. It's going to be really fast. We have a program that is a 6-week program where we're going to help you go deeper into your next career move and finding, guiding you through that. So you can scan the QR code and so you can have access to that program whenever you want. So it's starting in June, and then we'll do other sessions at the end of the year. So if you are keen on that, so it's 6 workshops, and we'll go through a lot of different tools with you, and having like a guided coaching program for you. So the flow theory. So we talked about symptoms were like symptoms of apathy, like low energy. And so what is the North Star? So basically, I don't know if some of you know what is being in the flow. So being in the flow is like this guy with the piano is like you lose completely track of time and space, and you are doing an activity, some work, but you don't even realize that you are doing it because you enjoy it for the activity itself. So really, you are in this sweet spot of that activity, and so the state of being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. And so that's a theory from a psychologist called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Well, I shouldn't have tried that. And so we'll explain to you exactly how it is being in the flow and how do we get there. So that's our North Star as a human being. For me, I feel extremely lucky with GoMasterCoach, like working on GoMasterCoach. I'm 1,000,000% in the flow. I work non-stop on it, on the project, but I don't feel I'm working because I enjoy it so much. I know I've found my flow, my ikigai. So I'll explain to you a bit more about what is flow. So what does it mean? So being completely involved in what you're doing, being focused, concentrated, this sense of ecstasy. And so ecstasy, X is outside, and ecstasy is like the reality. So feeling outside of everyday reality, you're out of like space and time. Inner clarity, you know exactly what needs to be done and how to do it. Activity is doable, so we're going to go through that. You have to feel a sense of challenge, that it's challenging, but not too challenging. So there's a sweet spot there to be in the flow, a sense of serenity, so no anxiety, timelessness, you forget about the time, and intrinsic motivation. So you feel motivated, the activity itself, whatever produces flow becomes its own reward. So the person doing the piano is enjoying the piano for the sake of like playing the piano. So that's being in the flow. I love this one, the diagram. It's explained like being in the flow is a sweet spot of like being challenged enough, because if you are too challenged, you feel anxious, you don't know what you need to do, you feel trapped, like you're super anxious, so you're not in your flow. So being in the right level of challenge, because you need also to be challenged, and also in terms of skill sets, that you feel that it's leveraging the right skills that you have. And so being in that flow is really fine-tuning exactly this sweet spot of like being challenged enough but not too much, and using your skills, but not if you're too comfortable using your skills, then you become like bored. So the two extreme here are anxiety and boredom. Okay. So this flow channel, if you are too much in the left lower part, it's apathy, you know. So you're not using your skills, you're not feeling challenged, you're comfortable. Yes, you're in your flow, but there's no real true motivation. The real flow is where like you feel challenged at the right level and you feel like your skills are used enough. So we talked about anxiety and boredom. Worry. So once you start like being challenged, let's say I'm not using too much of my skills, like it's super easy the work I'm doing, but then you start being challenged, and so you are in this job where you feel like you are too challenged, so you feel worrying, and then extremely, like you can, to the extreme level, you can go to anxiety. Arousal, so that space is the space where you're going to learn the most, when you're not there yet in terms of skills, but you are going into the flow, the challenge is high, and you are learning. So that's when you are learning, where you're going through the GoMasterCoach training program, and then you feel that you're learning and that you're feeling that you're upgrading your skills. You are in that zone, so the arousal, which is a very, very important zone. Relaxation, so that's when you are super skilled but not challenged at all. You are in a job like you feel like the master, like of the world, like but you don't feel a challenge. And then control, so control is like you feel in control, like a bit more than relaxation. Your skills, you have super high skill, like superstar at what you're doing. You're okay, challenged, not too much, so you are in control. Ideally, you want to be challenged, like learning, and challenge and leveraging your skills. So I love. So I was talking to a friend that is a game designer, and some of you may know. And I was wondering how do games like Angry Bird make it so addictive to people? You know, like I'm sure you've seen a lot of people, even yourself, being addicted to. Yes, being addicted. Thank you guys. Yes, I'm just looking at the chat and meeting at the same time. Yes, and so I'm sure you've seen yourself or a lot of people being addicted to those games, like being stuck. And the way they do it is that they manage this flow channel very, very accurately in terms of they always make it just challenging enough that you feel challenged, but not too challenged and anxious about you being able to do it. So Angry Bird, you're just sending this bird, like seems quite easy, but it's challenging. And so you say, oh, I need to be able to do it. It's just challenging enough for me that I should be able to do it. And then slowly they get into a higher level of difficulty as you raise. So I think that's a wonderful metaphor of life also, and how we should see life being almost like a big game. But in this game, we are always learning and growing, and that's the beauty of that. And I guess also that's why I love GoMasterCoach journey, because I'm personally learning a lot every day, teaching myself new things and teaching others. So understanding this flow channel, and again on fine-tuning of being challenged enough and upgrading your skills at the same time. Yeah. Anyone has any questions? Okay. So the flow theory, so that's directly from the famous person whose name is a bit difficult to pronounce. So you must have a good balance between the perceived challenge, so we talked about that, and the perceived skills. And you should have the confidence in the ability to complete the task at end. So same as with Angry Bird, I know how to do it, I feel a bit challenged, I have my skill set and confidence to complete the task. Important also is to have an activity where you have a clear set of goals and progress. So you know exactly the goal and the progress. So that's where also the coach is very useful. As part of the GROW model, the G of the GROW model is about setting up the goals. So very important in that coaching to have like clear goals and a sense of progress. So this incentive, like baby steps. Again, if we talk about Angry Bird, like those baby steps. So same in our personal situation, professional situation, and when you are coaching someone. And then, yeah, clear and immediate feedback that goes with like the progress. And that's how you're going to maintain this flow state. Okay, so that's the flow theory. When we talk, like Tony Robbins says, like where focus goes, energy flows. So that's I don't know if that happened to you in your life, but you have this goal in your life. You want, let's say, to change your career, and just randomly you have this person that's going to pop up in your life, and being the person that you need to talk to exactly in the situation that you needed. And so it's because like you are aware of your goals and you open your eyes on the opportunities that are aligned with your goals. So understanding where you want to go, having that sense of purpose, that clear goal, and align with your values, it's fundamental. Huh? So again, so I talked about symptoms, and now I talked about the North Star, like being in this flow state. So that's, I wanted to ask you if I am good. Yes, I wanted to ask you, how many of you have been in the flow? Like how many of you have experienced flow? So flow again is like you are in an activity where you lose completely track of time and space, and like and that you super like you love the activity for the activity itself. Huh? Yes. Okay. So yes, I'll let you. Yes, some people are still voting. Yeah. So have you ever been in the flow? Okay. So I'm gonna close the poll and share the results. So super impressive. I wouldn't have guessed that. So it's good. 88% of you have experienced flow at least one time in your life, I would say. The good thing is, how do we make it more constant? How do we make it part of your life, your daily routine? If that's something that happened once, if it's something that's constantly in your life, that's beautiful. Huh? And so I love this. Are you autotelic? So we're still on the flow concept. So this wonderful person, the psychologist behind the flow theory, said that autotelic person. So some people are more inclined to being in the flow compared to others, and the personalities that tend to be more so autotelic tend to be more in the flow. Have those traits, so curiosity, persistence, low self-centeredness, so centered on others, and high rate of performing activities for the intrinsic reasons only of those activities, for the enjoyment of those activities. So simply like enjoying the activity for itself and experiencing it being as the main goal. and it's not done with expectation of some future benefit. If there's some future benefit, that's good, but the activity itself is the own already a beautiful reward for the person. So there are 3 types of happiness: the pleasure, so the rock star chasing the new high; the flow, being in an activity, so one activity, I managed to be in the flow once. And when you manage to be in the flow for a longer term, then you have a sense of meaning and purpose, and that's a huge driver in your life, and a beautiful space to be, which I wish to all of you. Before we jump into the 3 techniques, one of my favorite books is Happier. So it's done by Tal Ben-Shahar. It's done like the most popular class at Harvard. And my favorite theory in this book, it's super easy to read, so I would recommend it to you. It's about like how much you are in the present compared to how much you are in the future. So a lot of us tend to be in the rat race. So meaning we're always running after something, like the activity itself, we don't care about it. It's more about the future. So for example, you're an Olympic swimmer, you practice for the Olympic Games, and then it's you have your medal, but it's super short-lived, and then you think of the next race. So it's really being in the rat race, and we are often stuck in that rat race. Hedonism is where you're focused on the present and you forget about the future. So a very carpe diem. I don't care about what's happening in the future. I'm in the moment. Nihilism. So if you're a nihilist, it means that you are very destructive. You don't care about the present nor the future. And so Tal Ben-Shahar says that the happiness is to find activities where you enjoy the future and the present impact. So let's say if I go on my bicycle, I love going on the bicycle. It's very fun. I'm sharing it with my family. And I know it's beneficial for my health. It has some future benefit. If I eat healthy food, I enjoy eating it, and I know it has some future benefit. And my favorite example of that is when we are kids, we are often told, oh, you have to be good in class, because if you're good in class, then you have a good grade, and then a diploma, and you'll be able to perform well in the corporate world and have a good job. And so we put the kids in this rat race, constantly in the rat race, but we forgot to tell them that it's an amazing opportunity to learn about mathematics, history, biology, and that they should enjoy the activity itself of learning, because they are also growing in terms of learning experience, in terms of personality, in terms of how they are growing as a person. So when you're in the rat race, always think of how can I shift the mindset into this quadrant of happiness, where you are focusing the journey and the destination, where you are focusing on the journey and on the destination. Any questions on that? Yeah. Okay. So now let's go into the Ikigai. Okay, so we're going to go through 3 techniques that you can use for yourself or with your clients. So Ikigai is one concept. It's a Japanese concept. It means like a reason for being. So it's believed that in a certain region of Japan, some people live longer in Japan because they know exactly what is their purpose, what is their Ikigai. And so the way it was formalized, so it's a Japanese concept, but then it was formalized it a bit more by an American, to be honest. And so there are 4 quadrants, and thinking of those 4 dimensions, what are the activities that are in those 4 dimensions that would be at the convergence of those 4 dimensions. So first one is, what do you love? what do you love doing, what are you good at in terms of expertise, skill sets, what can you be paid for, so where can you earn money from those activities, and very important, what does the world need, so the impact you can have on the world and the need for on the world. So if you look at those 4 quadrants, the way I see it sometimes is that a lot of people are in the yellow and red, so more on the mission. So I do what I love, it's what the world needs. So let's say someone working in an NGO, for example. And I often see people, and the last person I was coaching yesterday was telling me the same, that she feels that she had to choose between almost the mission and the profession. So what is the mission is what you love and what the world needs, and the profession is what you are good at and what you can be paid for. And so there's this strong limiting belief of like, either I choose what I love, or it has to be, or what I can be paid for, I won't love it, you know. So either like, I don't know, for me, I was a banker before, I was working as a trader on the trading floor. And so I was paid for it, I was like an expert at it, I was in my profession, but I was lacking this sense of like loving what I do and like feeling an impact on the world. And so it's breaking this limiting belief that you can also be at the center of those 4 circles. And for example, for me again, like GoMasterCoach is 1,000,000% on my ikigai, because I love what I'm doing. I'm leveraging my skill set. I'm paid for it. People value the services, and I feel the impact on the world. And feeling that is impact is super rewarding. So how do you do that with your client or with yourself? So the questions that you can ask for the 4 dimensions, what you love. So you can again, you can put like put that circle, those 4 circles, and answer those questions in those 4 circles. So what do you love? What are the activities that you love? What are the activities that you give you energy? Activities where you're in the flow. So 88% of you were saying that you've been in the flow at least once. So what are those activities? What motivates you to get up each day? What could you do, like even if you were not paid? What do you enjoy, like helping people with the most? And so that's the first dimension. So that's question that you can ask your clients when you're coaching them or yourself. What are you good at? So here we're talking about the expertise aspect. What sets you apart from others? Sorry, there's a typo. What are your top 3 strengths? What do you like about yourself? And so when people come to you for advice, what do they come to you for? So that's on the expertise. Okay. What can you be paid for? So what can you be paid for? What experience is valued in your profile? What are your training, certification? What are the trainings and certification that you could take on? What would you value? How will you value your services? So that's on the being paid. And what does the world needs? So again, so it's important to understand like what is the impact that you can have on the world, so that it's fully fulfilling for you. When I was a trader, I didn't feel any impact on the world, like the pricing flows. It was nothing very interesting, and I couldn't feel an impact. So that was lacking, and so that's very important. Like, what problems do you solve? What are your clients' 3 pain points? What is your client persona? So I often say, so those who've been through the GoMasterCoach Institute know it quite well. Think about the pain points of your client. When you're pitching your services, your niche, it's not about yourself, it's about them and their pain points. What are the challenges that they are going through, and how can you resolve those challenging? So when you're pitching, like on your flyer or on your website, think about that. Okay, and what is your client persona? So that's something that you can do. What is a typical client persona? What would they have to go through? Imagining their life journey. So that's on Ikigai. Any questions on Ikigai? Yeah. Otherwise, we can also at the end like go through that. So energy mind map. So we talked about the 4 dimension here. I would say the energy, what you love, is like a good way to start. And I love this quote: "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So when you feel that sense of energy, that sense of purpose, and you're alive, and so that's what we're going to do with the energy mind map. So we're going to do this exercise. Uh, be present, because here you're gonna receive as much as you give. So if you give and if you are involved in this activity, then you're gonna learn from it. So do that. So take a pen and a piece of paper and list the activities that give you energy. So what are the activities that give you energy? So when you feel like when you're doing them, like you feel like, wow, I feel so good about them. It doesn't have to be only work activities, and can be personal. So I don't know, for me, that would be going on a bicycle with my family, going to the restaurant with friends. So those activities that when you do them afterwards, you feel like energized from them, like and listening for them, like having this feedback loop of being aware of which activities give you energy and which don't, is a huge learning. Yeah? So write as many activities as you can. Just brainstorm, like take a pen and a piece of paper. I'll give you a minute to write those activities. So it can be very broad, can be very broad in terms of activities. And so once you're done with that, then pick 3 of the activities that are a bit different, like in different areas, or the ones that are more striking to you. So pick three of them, so you can circle them. And so I'm just taking my example, and sorry, just to make it very concrete for you. So for me, it would be like cycling, GoMasterCoach, working on GoMasterCoach, and like meeting friends, having friends, like meeting them. So take that piece of paper and like those 3 activities, and then we're going to do a mind map of when you think of that activity. So let's say cycling, what does it mean to you? What are the keywords that you can think of? So the first level mind map. So that's mine. I just did it quickly. I just put 3 per activity, but can be much more than that. And just put as many as you can think of, that your brain can think of, and can be all the words that you can think of, like. So if you don't think too much, it's going to tap on your unconscious brain more. So don't overthink it, and do that first level mind map. And then you do a second level mind map. So for each of those words that you've written, so let's say for me, like being with friends is about laughing. Then a second level mind map of like, okay, what does it mean, this word? Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to do that energy mind map. Yeah. So I saw late joiners. So here the exercise that we are doing is the energy mind map. So you have to find activities where that would give you a lot of energy when you do them. So for me, like cycling, meeting friends, and working on GoMasterCoach. And so find those 3 top activities that are a bit different, and then do some mind mapping in terms of what are the keywords that those activities make you think of. Yeah. And that's the energy mind map. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that.
Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star with the clouds are far behind me, where trouble feels like lemon.
Okay, so when you look at that energy mind map, when you look at yours, like, do you see any themes that are coming back at the first or second level? Like, and this one is really to feed in the what you love dimension of Ikigai. And so thinking about that, and most probably your flow would be in line with some of the keywords that you see here, you know, like I don't know if anyone wants to share on their mind map what are the themes that you are seeing, and if that makes sense. Anyone wants to share? Any theme that you are seeing that would make sense? Yeah. Okay, so basically you're looking at the themes and like what are the themes that are coming back, that are recurring. Yeah? So that's an exercise that I love to do also with the people that I coach, especially early on, and to understand what ignites them and what gives them energy, and understanding this feedback loop of being aware of those activities. Huh? So that's on the energy mind map. And so the last but not least is the find your why. So that's the third technique. I would highly recommend for you also to read this one from Simon Sinek. So he's saying like working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. And so that's what we are looking for, going away from the stress, the anxiety on the flow chart, and going into the flow and the passion. So how do we do that, and what are the different, this methodology from the book? So the way he does it is that you have to find 5 stories about yourself. So experiences that help you shape who you are in a positive or negative ways. And so I'll explain to you how to find some of those stories. And then having a partner like a coach help you and listening to you with those stories and asking you the right questions. So I'm using that technique actually with someone that I'm coaching right now. It's a few sessions. I usually try to do like a 2-hour session for the 5 stories so that there's no disruption. So I would recommend for you, if you're used to like a 1-hour format with your client, do like a 2 hours. And so the objective is that through the stories, we will see like themes, and then from that we will discover the why statement of the person. So one of the ways to, you know, like you're gonna ask like, okay, how do I find those like 5 stories? So 5 plus, at least 5. How do I find those ones? And so a good way to start, and I think one of the best methodology, is to do a life map. For those of you who've gone through the GoMasterCoach training, you know what is a life map, but for those who haven't, so basically you look at like your life. You can start from birth, or you can start from where you want up to today, and how you would rate your level of satisfaction at each time of your life based on the milestone of your life. And so those extreme points, so in this graph, the first job or being fired, would be good stories to pick for your stories. So looking at extreme points, especially the low points, I would say, could be interesting, and also the top points also. So for the life map, yes, for those of you who have access to the coaching the GoMasterCoach toolbox, and you can use the life map on the GoMasterCoach toolbox, and you have the QR code here that you can use to get access to the toolbox. So feel free to use it. It's free for 2 months, and then it's 18 US. So how to find those 5 stories? So we talked about the life map. Also, you can think of who in your life helped shape who you are today and what you admire in them and who else. So like thinking like who helped shape your life, who you are today, when have they done it, and finding a particular event. It has to be the story has to be very like a very like a moment, a point of time, very precise. At work, I would have done that for free. What happened that day that made you say that? A worst day at work, or can be a best day. First happy childhood memory, or sad actually. At school experience that you loved. Pivotal moment in your life, and things will never be the same after that. So I think that one for me is like the life map, and that would be like a key story to tap on. Time when you gave yourself to help someone else and felt exceptionally good about it. So you feel like you're helping someone, you help someone. And what was that particular moment? What did you do? How did you feel about it? What did you accomplish that you're really proud of? So that top moment where you're super proud of something, and what happened exactly in that particular moment. I don't know. It was like maybe you did a speaking engagement to a crowd of people, and you were very proud of that moment, so explaining that that particular story. So the objective is not the story itself, you'll see why, but understanding what is behind the stories. So the next step, once you have those 5 stories, is to find a partner. So ideally, someone that is a good listener. So those of you who've been through the GoMasterCoach training, it's beyond the listening of the words. So it's having that soft focus of listening to beyond the word, but also the body language, how a person lights up when they talk about something, or being emotional. So whenever, as a partner, you're listening to those stories with a soft focus, whenever you see something emotional or visual, write down what they say. So usually when there's an emotional cue, write down what is being said. And the framework is to use facts, feelings, contribution, and impacts. So what are the facts? What is the person saying? What are the feelings behind those facts? How did they contribute to the world? So the contribution and the impact. What was the impact of that story on themselves, on the world? So that's a framework that you can use: facts, feelings, contribution, and impact. And that you cannot do it to yourself. It has to be an external partner listening to your stories. Okay, so as a partner, what are the questions that you can ask? And so it looks very much like what we do in coaching. So those questions: how did that make you feel? So you talked to me about your story. How did that make you feel? What is it about this experience that you absolutely loved? You've probably felt the same feeling before. What is it about this story that makes it special? So whenever they're talking about a feeling, and so the objective would be for you to shift them from facts to feelings. Ask them, okay, it could be a feeling of pride, of sadness, of happiness. I felt super fulfilled in that moment. I felt on top of the world. Okay, why? What is it about this story that made it so special that you felt on top of the world more than other stories that you would have picked? What is it special? How did this experience affect you and who you have become? So very important, like how did this experience completely change who you are, and that the world will never be the same again for you after that experience? What was the lesson or the lessons from that experience that you still carry with you today? Of all the stories that you could have shared with me, why? So what makes this story, this particular one, so special that you chose to tell it. If someone else features is featured, yeah, okay. If someone else is featured in this story, so I don't know if they talk about a friend or a family member, ask them about that person and how that person made a difference in their lives, and what they love or admire about that person. So very important. What do you admire in a person? It's for those of you again who've been through the GoMasterCoach training program, you know, but the admiration, like when you admire someone, it shows how you see the world and your own values. So a very important question to ask. So whenever in the story there's someone featured in the story, ask them also about that person. Okay. So I was saying, like, very important that you shift from what is happening to how they felt about what happened. So what happened to how they felt about what happened. So it's from facts to feelings. And so very important that you manage to shift also how do they feel about it, what is the impact today. And so you'll know you'll be getting somewhere as a partner, as a coach, when they begin talking less about what happened and more about how they felt about what happened. So I was telling you, if someone tells you like, oh, it really filled me up, or I felt extremely happy, tell me about this feeling. So tell me about this feeling of being super happy or being disappointed, and how was it different? What is about this emotion that is different from other times that you felt it? So that's really as a partner in this finding your why. So another exercise that it's a bit tricky to do, that you can do yourself, asking a friend. So it can be super awkward, but still super valuable to ask a friend, what is it about me that make you decide to become a friend with me, or to stay a friend, or to be a friend? And it's more about, again, what is the impact that you have on them, and how you make them feel, you know, the contribution, and what is it like that you enjoy being a friend with me. So you can tell them you're going through this exercise of finding your purpose, and that's a question to ask. So this is not, I know it's tricky to do, but still super valuable, and with good friend, that's a discussion that you can have. And that's also in the book from Simon Sinek. So when you have those stories and you look for themes and patterns, so beyond the word, and what is the contribution and the impact that you have on other people's lives. And so as a partner, it's when I showed you like the four columns, fact, feelings, contribution, and impact. That's why it's important to write contribution and impact, because then you're going to debrief the recurring themes that you are seeing, the contribution that you've been seeing, and the impact. And so the book, the Find Your Why book, is saying like having this statement, your why statement, so that two, then the contribution, so that impact. So when you look at Simon Sinek why statement, is to inspire people to do things that inspire them, so that together we can change our world. So that's Simon Sinek why statement. And the objective is for you to find your own, and or to find the one for your client. Again, so two, then contribution, so that impact. So what's your why? Yes. Yes. So any questions on that? So again, it's like a super short, like almost teaser, like because it's such a deep theme, like a very important theme, like how to find your purpose, and such a rewarding goal and rewarding journey to go through that. So those are mostly pointers for you to guide you through how to get there. Again, so we have a program, a 6-week program, where you would go through different workshops starting 2nd of June, where we would help you through those different workshops, help you, guide you, not only find your why, understanding your strengths, your values, your behaviors, your fears, and define a plan for you. And I think, so where do I start? That's the last slide. So understanding your flows, activities that give you energy, especially those activities where you lose track of time and space. Then you can do the Ikigai exercise with the energy mind map. Is the one on top that you saw, the 4 circles. The one on top is what you love, energy mind mapping, and then the find a why with telling 5 stories to a partner or as a coach, being a partner. So yes, any question? I'm done with the slides. Any questions on your side? Like any feedbacks? Very keen to hear your thoughts. Yeah. Any question on that? Like, have you tried some of those techniques? Have you been like stuck in with some? Like, have you had this in a coaching session?
Good afternoon, Christian here.
Good to see you.
Yes, I approached the Ikigai framework, and I think it is very powerful, but at the same time, it needs to be backed up by a number of other either personality tests or activity tests. Sorry, my dog's in the background. Because when you say, okay, what are the core values? What are the areas of interest? What are you good at? It has to somehow not only be conscious or how you say, subjective, but also areas that may come. I mean, in the mind map, it also comes out. I mean, there's a number of indication we can get, but I think it needs to be supported by a few personality tools.
Yes, exactly. So as part of a coaching program, you wouldn't do straight ahead like the Ikigai. I think you're absolutely 1,000,000% right. So for each of the 4 dimensions, I would have some tests. For example, on the expertise, you can use the strengths test, you know, like that we have on the toolbox, or you can use other tests, but working through that, through, like, as you said, like personality test, and because it can be a bit overwhelming to start like first with the Ikigai. Definitely, very good point. Yeah. Does that help? Yeah. And good to see you, Christian. Yes.
Same here. Thank you.
Yeah, Christian is one of our alumni. Any other questions? Yeah, if you feel more comfortable, you can also ask questions on the chat. When you shared mind map, all 3 activities in each circle were together, pointing out to what well-being means to you. I'm not sure I understand. Similar stuff came up for me. When I drew. Okay. Yes. So exactly. So when you see, so you see you're sharing that a lot of it comes like back to well-being, being at ease, like well-being. Yes. So that's that's a good realization that it's something very important to you. When I did this exercise also with one of my coachee this week, she's stuck in a role that she doesn't like, and when she does that, it was also a lot about well-being. So it's a good realization. So you know that it's for you to be in the flow, you have to be with that. Yes, thank you, Karin. Any other question you may have on the chat or camera? Like, feel free to ask. There's no dumb question, and don't worry. So again, it's mostly pointers. Like in one hour, it's difficult like to revolutionize and like give you like a lot, but more like a teaser and pointers of techniques that you can use. Huh? Perfect. Any other questions, guys? Perfect. Okay, so those of you who are too scared to ask questions, you can stay on, and the rest you can say bye to you. Thank you very much for the session. It's good to see many of your faces. I really enjoyed it. Huh? Thank you very much. Huh? And I'm going to stay on for those who prefer to.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye, Christian. Good to see you. Yes.
Bye-bye.